Good evening. If you're lying down, winding down after a long day, maybe you're still at your desk finishing up one last task, or maybe you're just looking for a voice to keep you company, or your thoughts drift. Whatever brought you here tonight, thank you. You've tuned into something a little different, something deeper, because tonight we're going to enter a story, a big story, a dark one, a story that still has holes and shadows no light has ever fully reached. G30S, the 30th of September movement, a bloody chapter in Indonesian history from the year 1965, and to this day, we still don't fully agree on what really happened. Now if this is your first time hearing about it, or if you only remember fragments from rushed school lessons or censored textbooks, let me walk you through it. On the night of 30 September 1965, 7 senior generals of the Indonesian army were kidnapped. Most were killed. The group responsible called themselves the 30th of September movement. One of the leading figures was Lieutenant Colonel Tung, an officer from Cakubirawa, the elite presidential guard unit. They claimed they were acting to prevent a coup by the so-called Council of Generals, a rumored faction of top army brass said to be plotting against then-President Sukarno. Sukarno, Indonesia's founding president, was a masterful orator, a revolutionary figure. By 1965, a man caught in the storm of political factions, each pulling him in different directions. On one side, you had the PKI, the Indonesian Communist Party, which at the time was the third largest communist party in the world after China and the Soviet Union. They were closely aligned with Sukarno and deeply distrusted by the military, especially the army. The kidnapped generals were taken to a place called Lubang Buaya near Halim Perdanakusuma Air Force Base in Jakarta. There, they were executed. Their bodies were thrown into an abandoned well. By morning, Radio Republik Indonesia, RRI, the national broadcaster, was taken over. A statement was read, live, on air. A new revolutionary council had seized power to save the republic from betrayal by the Council of Generals. But only a few hours later, Major General Suharto, commander of Kostrad, the Army's Strategic Reserve Command, stepped in. He moved fast, took over command, and in just 2 days, the movement collapsed. And that is when the real story begins. Because after that, the PKI was banned. Hundreds of thousands of people were killed in what would become one of the deadliest anti-communist purges in modern history. Sukarno lost power, and Suharto rose. So now we arrive at the question that lingers over all of this. Who was really behind G30S? It's a question that doesn't sit still. One moment it seems clear, the next, you're lost in a different version, different theory, different motive. There are many perspectives, none universally accepted, but let's walk through them, slowly, together. The most well-known version, especially during Suharto's 32-year rule, goes like this. The PKI orchestrated the coup under DNID with the help of a secretive division called the Special Bureau, led by a man named Siam Kamaruzama. They trained cadres at Lubang Buaya. They targeted the army. They failed, and they paid the price. This version was reinforced by films, propaganda, and mandatory education. But later, historians like John Rusa started pulling at the thread. If this was a well-planned communist coup, why did it fall apart in 48 hours? No mass support, no fallback plan, no second wave. Some believe maybe it was never meant to succeed. Then came a bold series from abroad. Two respected scholars, Benedict Anderson and Ruth McVeigh, offered an alternative in what became known as the Cornell paper. They argued G30S wasn't a communist plot, but a crisis within the Indonesian army itself. Officers from the Diponegoro division, like Untung and Latif, grew tired of corruption among Jakarta's top brass. They felt the revolutionary ideals of independence were being betrayed. So, they acted. A misguided military mutiny, not a Marxist uprising. And the PKI, they may have been there, but not as masterminds, more like reluctant passengers. Then there's the theory with the coldest precision that Suharto knew and let it happen. On the night of 30 September, Colonel Latif visited Suharto at a military hospital. According to several accounts, he told him about the plan, warned him. Suharto didn't report it. He didn't intervene. He waited. And the next morning, he was already in uniform, already commanding troops, already taking over Jakarta. Historian W.F. Wertheim called it the missing link. Not a coincidence, but a trap. Set, and then sprung. Some believe Sukarno was behind it. Historian A.C.A. Deki claims Sukarno had grown tired of generals defying him, especially over his Nasacom vision, uniting nationalists, religious groups, and communists under one ideology. He allegedly gave Untung a private order to clean house, but the house collapsed. Sukarno would lose everything in the months that followed, and history would turn its back on him. And what about Siam? Some call him the true mastermind, a double agent. He told ID the army was ready. He told the army the communists were ready. But no one was, and maybe that's the point. Some believe G30S was designed to fail, an engineered collapse, to justify a purge. And in that scenario, Siam isn't just a player. He's the ghost in the machine. And finally, the Cold War, the CIA, the US government. Indonesia was a strategic prize in the global standoff between the West and communism. The US feared Jakarta may become the next Havana, or worse, another Beijing. Historian Vincent Bevins, in his book Jakarta Method, reveals how the US may not have pulled the trigger, but they certainly handed out bullets. Intel, funding, black propaganda, even alleged kill lists handed to the Indonesian military. The dominoes fell, and Indonesia became the blueprint. So who did it? The communists? The idealistic officers? Sukarno? Suharto? CIA? Or was it Siam smiling quietly from the shadows? Maybe there was no single puppeteer. Maybe it was a perfect storm, an intersection of ambition, fear, ideology, and timing. And maybe that's why no story ever feels complete.